Hello and welcome to the Design Versus podcast. If you like listening to a humble graphic designer modestly debate with his fellow colleagues without losing his cool, this isn't it. Joining me this week is actually a returning guest. If telling him once not to be a designer wasn't enough, why bother again? Also, he can count to 10. Raza Kazi, welcome back.
Thanks for having me back, Bilal.
Yeah,
Excited to be here, as you can tell.
I'm really happy that you're back too. Alongside Raza, he's been mine and Raza's line manager before, a key member of the leadership team at Digital 22. He's Burnley's finest and loves a bit of cricket. Paul Mortimer.
How you doing?
How are you, Paul?
Good, thanks, mate. Peeping at you through the
Yeah.
whatever these are called.
It's not there on the camera, so we're all good. So hopefully it won't distract us too much. It might be enough to stop us from getting up and having a bit of a tip.
Well, that's why I'm here, really, isn't it?
This is
Me
what
and
this.
Bilal aren't friends since last episode. We had a bit of a falling out.
Look, hey, a lot was said last time. A lot more is going to be said this time, so it should be interesting. Guys, we're back for round two.
Is this your first round two?
This is my first round two on the show,
It's
yeah.
because he lost round one, so now he wants...
Well, that's not what I've got written down. We're back for round two before we begin.
We interrupted your intro.
Before we go ahead, yeah. I was saying that, we talked about content as a department, as a subject, and the similarities between design and content as well, and some of the processes that we go through. And at the end, we both agreed that it was all about design, and content was, second. If I could sum it up in one go, I think it was when it comes to content or design first, I said that with design it gives you that template, it gives you that platform as a writer, as a content writer, to sort of decide how much text you're actually going to put in, especially when it came to web copy, especially when it came to ebooks, and having too much content was going to sort of destroy all that. I can see
Paul just whipping out
out.
the
He's like,
seats.
well, actually, could before we begin further, and I'll get to why Paul's actually moderating this and coming in between us on this one. But do you want to summarise what your argument was for content? If you could summarise that argument up last time round.
I think my argument at the end of it was content is more important in general. But I do see why we do need design to help enhance our work. And I'm not saying it's irrelevant as much as I take the piss with you about drawing squares and circles and colouring stuff in. I do see the importance of it. But if you put a gun to my head and said pick one which is more important, I'd still sit with that. Content is more important.
Okay, I mean...
Is this why we fell out?
This is where we disagreed.
There were some caveats, like I said. Product-led stuff, like if I'm buying a pair of trainers, I'd probably won't need to read the copy. And nice design would convince me enough.
That's a good segue, because yesterday I had a day off and I went out shopping in Manchester. I want to, this might help, but this might help your argument. I was in an art shop, surrounded by all kinds of creative things, and there were loads of books on these shelves. And the one book that actually stood out to me, and I read the title of it, and you could see it. It's just right there. I'll read it out to the camera in a second. But it said, read this if you want to take great photographs. And I thought to myself, yeah, I want to take good photographs. Actually, that's touched me, but that's worked effectively. So, in a way, copy has actually got to me, not design. Because design was just a plain cover with white writing on it, and it was black in the background. But it grabbed my attention. It got me actually making an action, because I wanted to pick it up and say, right, what's all this about? But, that's the only sort of thing that I can sort of give you. Maybe, Paul, you can weigh in on that.
Yeah, I think I wanted to chat about the book stuff, because you had some good discussions but you just said something that I pulled out from the last discussion you had. So you're quite complimentary there about design, but what you actually said last time was, I don't care what design do, I'm not going to give you prompts because that's your problem. And you also said design is the last thing I care about. And when it comes to building bridges, I just wanted to turn this into a word
Yeah,
for
let's
word,
play
mate.
that clip.
That's
Just in the video. Let's just put that in there.
Is when I'm in the zone for writing, I don't care what design do with it. How I know you're gonna make it look good. I'm not gonna give you prompts on what to do because that's your problem now. I think if you're writing it and designing it, you're kind of taking a more methodical approach to it. Like, I'm gonna write this in this way because when I'm designing it, I'm gonna make it look like this. Whereas if I'm not designing it, that's your problem.
In the spirit of togetherness, Bilal, what's your response to that, having slept on it?
If you slept since then,
I definitely slept on it. I definitely didn't like what was said there. I disagree with that statement fully.
a bit harsh. I agree.
It was a bit harsh that you said something.
Yeah, would you like to clarify those?
Yeah, if I can.
If there was a
What was
lighter way of telling me, because what you said did touch my heart a little bit.
What did I say? I don't care about design.
You said, I don't care what design do with the content.
Mhm.
I'm not going to give you prompts because that's your problem. And you also added, design is the last thing I care about.
I'll say this. For what you said there, I think what you were trying to say, amongst the hate, was that basically it's a problem that a designer has to solve. That sometimes we get given a lot of content and we've got to work with that, and sometimes it's just, hey, this is what you get.
Also more in the sense of that content have their own, not problems, but stuff to deal with. The last thing I'd want to do is fix potential problems you could face, and then all you'll be doing then is copying and pasting content into what you're doing.
Is that what that is? Is it? Are we limiting what you have to write? Is that
Not limiting.
Is that what's happening?
It can be in some cases. If you're giving me here's the design, right into the design, you are limiting it. If in case I did have some extra stuff
I
to
want
add.
to pick that up as well, because you a serious point you talked about was those limitations.
Yeah.
And we'll come back to that. But another thing you said, Raza, was designers need content provided in order to do their best work. That's quite a high opinion of yourself, no?
Not just me. I think any person writing content, whether it's you, whether it's John, anyone. I think you do need some form of content. I think you design around content. What we do at Digital 22, it's for websites. It's content first. We don't write to a design. We box ourselves in. I feel like if you feel you're more creative, I think you should be creative enough to design around words. Is what I'm saying. If you class yourself as creative,
Our cameraman's just nodding his head in agreement there.
do you agree? Yeah.
Well, we've got a lot to talk about then.
I'm glad I got someone's backing me. I feel like
No, don't worry. He's not going to get away. It's not all one way.
I think that, like you say, that sometimes a designer does have to work with what he's got. Unfortunately, sometimes it creates a hindrance on the overall timeline of things. Time's against us. We've got projects to get to.
Also, I don't know if you've picked this out, Paul, but I did say, I do understand some cases, like infographics, for example, we can't dictate that because that is a very visual, heavy document.
Well, we didn't talk about infographics last time, did we?
I'm sure I brushed over it, Bilal.
Vaguely.
I did say, I'm choosing to forget it. I did say, in some cases, like in products, I feel like design is more important. I also said you'd feel limited if I gave you 3 pages full of text for an infographic. That's not going to help you. So I do understand in some cases it does need to be design led, but more often than not, I'd say you should design around the words we write, because I think the words sells stuff.
Yeah,
not pretty pictures.
Infographics are image heavy.
Yeah.
This is the whole purpose of that and it's the same with a few other publications that we didn't even touch on. Some of them we don't even make here as often as I would want to, but like posters and promotional material, they tend to be a little bit more creative in that sense too. Educational pieces, particularly video. Video is one of them where content and design have to work together and find that middle ground at times.
But with that as well, if we're talking about, I'm sorry if I'm skipping ahead, but if we're talking about video scripts, it makes no sense to me for you to do all your animation stuff, all the design stuff, and then giving it to us to write a script based on what you said. Surely you need us for that first.
while that might be true,
It is true.
it's not 100% because
You can't design anything without the words.
I've been going back and forth with content or design, and it's particularly with storyboarding. You're creating a video together. So anytime where the copy starts to get a bit too heavy again, or doesn't make sense to flow from one animation scene to the next, that's where I'm able to go back to copy and content and say, hey, we need to re-sentence this, or for lack of a better term, reword it even. And that's why in those situations, it's important to work together as we're going along through it. That's why I probably say that there's a reason why we do wireframes for websites, or there's a reason why we do a brainstorm for these animations. There's a reason why sometimes even like with the ebooks or even download pieces in general that we sit together, content and a designer, any of us from the departments would get together and discuss the plan of it and sort of create some kind of...
Yeah, that's where that probably was. I probably didn't mean it as harshly as I did there, but yeah, like when we are planning.
It's okay, Raza.
When we plan premium content, you and I do sit together, and I try and protect your time and put in guardrails so we don't go overboard with content, and get you involved, get your input in, so
yeah,
the guys don't go overboard with words, and you get your input. So we do work together.
On that togetherness, Raza, you said I'm a designer. Ask Paul. I agree.
Yeah,
You're in my top 3 designers at Digital 22.
I appreciate that. I did some really good design work this week, sorry.
Oh, you did you?
Yeah,
this week, on Tuesday?
This week. No, yesterday.
Yes.
That's the line manager.
Yeah.
He'll tell you.
Who?
Dave will tell you.
He might not have read it because he was off.
He was
and
off.
Also quit the FIFA week.
Dave did say it's some of my finest work. So.
That said, you scored yourself a 7 out of 10 as a creative.
Yeah.
Yeah, very humble. I think that's quite modest. Bilal, you scored him a 9 out of 10 as a creative.
I
really,
did.
really positive. Real compliment.
Yeah.
How, in the spirit of learning and sharing, how could he become a 10?
Ooh. Wow. See, creativity is a broad subject, and it's purely based on opinion. So that's what I'll first start off by saying. But
and you think he's a 9 out of 10, which is
I
brilliant.
think he's a 9 out of 10. I do. I've read some of his work.
Some of it.
Some of it, not all of it. I'm not a
I've seen some of your designs.
Yes. Yeah. Well, when I read his work, I feel quite engaged really, and I love the way he delivers through words.
As a creative, because this is where you put yourself on the scale.
Okay.
Bilal, you said, give Superman some kryptonite and he's done. It's like giving me some nuts. Are you saying you're similar to Superman? Are you putting yourself on a par with
It
Superman?
doesn't sound humble to me, that, if I'm honest.
I mean, I just meant for the weakness. I mean, everyone's got weakness, so that was my weakness, and Superman's weakness is kryptonite, and that...
So you and Superman are equal, really. You both got only one weakness, kryptonite or nuts. So, with that said, as a outstanding creative, which you actually are, jokes aside, how would you inspire someone to be 10 out of 10 on creativity? What do you do to get super creative?
I guess anyone, not just
To
me.
get super...
Anyone.
Anyone in general, not just myself, and everything I'll probably say next is probably a reminder to myself anyway that there's always room for improvement. So to do that, you need to continuously show that passion and flair by...
How do you get that flair going? How do you get in the mode?
Getting involved with and looking at all these different work that designers around the world are doing, and sharing the passion that they have, talking about their work, not just looking at it and being spiteful of it and thinking, oh, I hate it, that it's so good, because that's sometimes a lot of creatives like ourselves look at other people's work and bog ourselves down on it and say, I'll never be like that. But you will be if you don't push yourself and try to mimic that work and try to bring your own style into that. And to do that requires you to just put aside your feelings and thoughts on how great the work is, and ask yourself why is it so good, and how you can apply that to yourself and how you can sort of become your own stronger creative in that sense. That's my take on it. But as well, over time, you sort of recharge, you reset your creative mind. So you need to keep exercising that and keep working towards that. I think to get to 10 is to really do that round the clock, really, on a constant basis.
It is a muscle, isn't it? You can train and get better at.
Yeah.
Like your design skills, really. They've come on leaps and bounds, haven't they?
Thank you. Top 3 design ideas for 22. You heard it here first. I think creativity applied the same thing as you said. I think from a copy or content perspective, in an agency, is seeing what other people are doing. Being like, we should have been doing that ages ago, not like reacting to what other people are doing already. Sometimes you do feel restricted in the sense of some clients just might like something a certain way. That's when we use D22 as like a guinea pig of trying new stuff.
That was something that stood out, Joe. Silly quotes aside, what you said last time about constraints and web copy. You talked about content and design, and we do content first websites.
Yeah.
But that's different from inbound blog content. It's about copy, and you talked about constraints and how that's limiting for you both.
Yeah.
Where do those constraints come from?
Most of it, I feel like, would be from the client because of all the guidelines that we have to follow. Some of that constraint could come from ourselves too. It doesn't mean to say necessarily that it's all on the client. Sometimes it can be from a designer, it can be from a creative, even in general, because there's a certain way that you want the work to flow towards, but then you feel like if you do it this way, it's just going to get pushed back and you have to start again or start from scratch. It's happened in the past. It becomes a sort of a fear in the back of your mind as a creative, and you think, oh.
Do you end up, as the two parts in the process, do you end up writing for design and then you end up trying to design to accommodate content?
I think we've kind of switched our processes a fair bit over the years. I know we used to write to a design that had its problems, and we just do content first, and that works to a sense. But I know now we do wireframes first, so even though we're not writing to a design, we have a general idea of what's it going to look like. I think doing it completely blind just kind of set you up to fail. Like, you have to now design around that, which I get, it might not always be easy, but we also kind of need some guidelines as to what you want the page to look like. You can still make tweaks to it based on the copy we do, but we do need something there.
And that's where we chatted after your show went out, and I listened to it about how the copy for me you should start with a blank page and speak to the end visitor anyway. Yeah. But we can end up, we write with Bilal in mind of how he's got to design this. You probably design it with the devs in mind of how they've got to build it. And all we're in the back of our minds is probably, is the client going to sign this off?
Yeah. I think that's where it also links in with the creativity aspect of it. The challenges are, we got a deadline, and we're not go live deadline, but more it needs to go to design, so we just need to do something so it's ready for design at this point. You're going to be the same way to design something so it's ready for dev at a certain point. So there's doing stuff, not rushing intentionally, but knowing what's going to get signed off without being creative where you can. Deadlines to keep, the people next in chain going. And I think just the confidence to actually say, well, we know what's going to work.
I think that chain's key, isn't it? And you talked about brainstorms on video, and we have brainstorms a lot. I don't know what you've got in your notes on there, but what stood out for me last time in part 1 of your verses was where you talked about books, and Raza, you said, if the cover looks good, I'll pick it up, which obviously is true. Without a nice cover, nobody will read the book. That's true. But you said as well, if the story inside it or the content inside it isn't good, you won't keep reading it. Also, I think the copy as well, the cover draws you in, you pick it up. But first thing you do is turn it over and read the back page.
Yeah.
Get the synopsis of the actual book itself,
No, Bilal reads the last page to see what happens.
There's always someone who does that. Or you'll read the first page and see if you like the prose. Yeah. But it's doing what you said of everybody working together there in a chain, isn't it?
Yeah. Copy is something that designers, especially at university, I don't know if Dave might have went through this process too. We both went to the same uni, but we were told to exercise our copywriting skills. So that was something that was quite important to the design process as well at some stage. It's a difficult one considering that there's a bit of English language skills required. As you can tell, I can't even speak English properly right now. But that was something that was interesting to me. That copy is still powerful. It's still the heart of what people will sort of resonate with.
We should show that book cover.
Yeah.
What was it? How to take good photographs?
Yeah.
Or do you want to take good photographs?
Read this if you want to take good photographs. We'll put a.
But that you were disparaging against the design there, saying it's white text on a black background. But
yeah.
surely that's
Simple,
daring
good design,
and simple,
Yeah.
good design.
I think you write that in a simple manner, where you just put the title up there without any thought going into it, no consideration for font or colour or contrast as well, because there was an element to that too that helped. So design sort of was like the wind beneath the wings of what content is, and the copy itself. You're writing that down. You heard it here first. I said that, but
She's actually writing it down.
and that's what I'd be arrogant to say that design carries content. So I'm going to say it. Design does carry content. It does. It really does. Because without.
But I guess what I'm getting at there is you've not even looked at the content yet.
I haven't, no. But it's already drawn me because the copy. It touched me.
But then what will you do? That book's drawn you, and then what's the next thing you do?
I'll open it and start flicking through the pages and start seeing what.
And then if that looks good,
yeah.
you buy it, don't you?
Yeah. Well, I will get put off. I will get put off by, unless someone tells me actually no, it does look a little bit bland or like the reason why I became a designer in the first place, back when I was in high school and reading the school textbooks, the information just wasn't getting to me and I wasn't interested in any of it at all. The only reason why I would be very interested or engaged is if either the teacher was really uplifting about their own subject and really could see the passion about it, and you could sort of sense that and feel that gravitas. But otherwise, the textbooks had to have a nice design to it, a nice sort of layout that I could see where all the information was quite clearly, because these children dyslexic, it's hard to read the information too at times. So there's a lot of care and attention that has to go into it to help when it comes to design. The content then itself, I will agree that a good content writer will then make it more flavourful, make it more, and this is where that 9 out of 10 comes from that rating earlier.
Keep telling me that, Bilal. I love it.
Well, you said you were an 8, so we both agreed in that.
He was a 7. He said he was a 7.
Yeah. Always room to improve. I don't think
okay, that's where we would say.
No one can be a 10. I don't think anyone can ever be a 10.
Sometimes you can be. I think you can feel like you're a 10.
In one project or moment, yeah, but no one's a permanent 10. I am.
I agree.
A 10 out of 10
I agree.
creative.
I got to ask you, Paul, what takes precedence for you then? Is it copy in general? Is it design? Is it a bit of both? Where do you stand in this scale of this argument?
Choose carefully.
Neutral.
I think I don't know what the word is, I'm trying to think of the word, but they sort of, like a bridge where you've got all the bricks going across and then you've got that keystone in the middle.
Yeah.
They all have to work together, don't they?
Okay.
And if you pull one out, it's ineffective. So that book that you've looked at,
yeah.
Brilliant, simple, nicely written title.
Yeah.
Perfect. Design lets that really speak.
Yeah.
And it's so plain, it stands out because all the others will be dead noisy next to it.
Yeah.
But then if the content inside it is rubbish, you're going to put it back. Or
even the copy on that cover was, read this, you're going to take good photos.
Yeah.
Like, how often do you see that as a title?
Which I'll admit, it got me. So, it does work.
But if one part of that puzzle falls down, you can go even deeper with this. If it's the content's good as well, but then the price is £200, you're not going to buy it.
Yeah.
But if take it back to just the three things: copy, design, and content. If the content inside it lets it down, you're going to put it back.
Yeah, exactly.
So all three need to. And that's a really cop-out answer, but I think it's the
Right.
truth.
Yeah,
All
I agree.
three.
Oh, I agree with it too.
Yeah.
And that's I'm kind of hoping you were going to say something like that, because you know, we can't all be design biased or content biased. You know, you've come out and you know, a good movie from start to finish, whether it's the script or whether it's the actors or the overall look and feel of it, the way that it's been recorded, cinematography as it's been called, even the volume of it, and the music that goes into it, all of those hit the right notes, you're going to be entertained throughout, and you're going to, as soon as it starts to dip and drop, then the user starts to lose interest. Like for me, if a movie gets bad, I'm picking up my phone and I'm looking through my messages as the movie's going on, because I'm starting to lose
And
interest.
one can carry the other as well. So when you work that way, to use that like cinematography example, say something I've really enjoyed watching recently was on Netflix, Sex Education. Have you watched
Right,
it?
okay. No, I've not seen it, but I've seen the
Plot.
evidence.
Rubbish.
Okay.
But it's not a plot-driven show. It looks brilliant. The writing's brilliant. Some of the lines are really funny. The characters are brilliant, and the plots are: there's a high school dance, and then boy meets girl, geeky boy messes up his chance with the popular girl. All these tropes from high school stuff, but it's shot in a way which is visually brilliant. The individual lines are brilliant. The individual actors are brilliant. The music's brilliant. The plot is the weakest bit because the other bits are so good, and it all works together. So like, the design could be 7 out of 10 because Raza rates it that, but the other bits of the puzzle could be 10 out of 10, and the whole thing comes out at whatever that averages out at, 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's where teamwork comes in, and when you can't be 10 out of 10 every day, you might not be 10 out of 10 on the content today, but Bilal is on the design, and it lifts the whole piece.
Yeah. I think as far as I'll go with it, to sort of be on the side of content and argue for that case, is that there's a lot of design principles that we have to exercise when we do design work. Hierarchy, contrast, repetition. The other one is balance. That balance, you could look at it in a deeper meaning, that it's not just a balance of the actual layout of the page, it's not where the text sits, now you put an image to help balance the page out. It's also a balance of how good the content is and how good the design actually is, and I guess that's where the two would marry up a lot better, even though I'm still always going to be pushing for design.
We're saying nice things about each other. Design does help content in the sense that it does make your copy sharper. I think when you said when you're talking about going to uni, I think I experienced the same when on a sports journalism course, when you're using InDesign. That's where I became a designer first and foremost. Simple designs of making newspapers, but then when your copy doesn't fit in certain columns, go back, sharpen it up again, paste it back in. Does it work? So I think in that sense, design does work in the sense like you're not as waffly. Like it's forcing you to cut out the waffle and be sharp, straight to the point. I do think design plays a big part in that.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you wanted to cover to like put to bed this riff?
I felt like that last part sort of had me feeling
Emotional.
empathy
Yeah.
for content. So
How about you?
That-
Do you retract
all of that.
that design is the last thing you care about?
I do retract that. I was probably a little bit harsh. That's I think it was more when I'm knee deep in words. That's my focus. Like I'm not, rightly or wrongly, I'm not thinking right. This will help Bilal if he can do this in this way. In that moment, I am just copy. I didn't word it right, but in that moment, design is the last thing on my mind. I need to get the copy right first before thinking about design.
And I guess if Bilal thinks that way, the end product should be better because you're both head down on your bit. Maybe one way to look at it.
Look, this is all good and well. I'm feeling the piece, but this is design versus, so I don't want that to stop. So I'm going to move this on to the latter stage of this podcast, and that is the quickfire round, if you don't mind. Paul,
This is a
this
very
will be
successful marriage counselling session this year.
I feel like I think there's some underlying trust issues still there from Bilal. It doesn't sound quite so sure as yourself, but I'm sure the next.
This way, but deep down, know that I do feel a lot more softer about my approach to.
Good.
I feel like I've shown I can change.
Yeah.
So
We'll see if
that's all
Superman can change. Yeah.
That's all I can do. Really.
We'll keep working, Bilal. Let's go. Quick fire.
So the quickfire round, we got both of you involved in this. You might not have to answer all these because some of these have already been asked. But Paul, if you for you joining us for the first time, as an example, it'd be something like, "Who is your favourite to work with, me or Raza?" I'm glad you didn't answer it straight away. Everyone usually says something like, "I'll say who's a better designer, me or Dave," and Chris went the other way.
I just want to hurt your
All
feelings.
design.
That's why.
Yeah,
He wants a second invite in the podcast. That's why.
I'd always have you on the podcast, Paul. So I'll read some questions out, and you answer which or what. And
So we're going head to head.
Not
Do you know
all
which
of them.
answer? Do
I
you know
mean,
which answer?
some of them are the same questions I asked
Okay.
last time. Cause
Oh,
it'd be
cool.
interesting to see what if you oppose it or if you're the same. Opening a new window or in a new tab.
New tab for me.
What?
Oh,
I was thinking window. Sorry, wait, go on.
open in a new window or open in a new tab.
New tab.
Okay. Pen or pencil?
Pen.
Ooh.
Pen.
You're a pen as well. I'm a pencil. But I'm a pen when it comes to making... Anyway, single scroll websites or multi-page?
Multi-page. You
Com-
single scroll, weren't you, last time?
Yeah, I
That's- I
mean-
remember that one for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know why. Just quick fire. I was under pressure. I just said the first one. That
Oh,
I,
you
It's the
said
wrong
single,
answer.
Single scroll.
I mean,
Press your guts in. Don't worry about
Too
it.
cheap to
It
buy
happens.
multiple page designs.
yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Next one.
Content first or design first? Okay, we don't have to go with
We've
that.
answered that one.
Big and bright or clean and minimalistic?
Clean and minimalistic.
Clean and minimalistic, yeah. I would agree with that too, but yeah. I asked this last time. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you have to drop one. Which one do you drop?
Twitter, because I like WhatsApp.
Right, okay, yeah. I mean, I think you said Facebook last
I've
time.
never,
yeah.
I've never really used it. So
Yeah. You dropped Twitter then?
Out of the three, yeah, I think it's a horrible
Yeah,
place.
I've always said Twitter as well. I only tweet it for complaints.
If you get rid of Facebook, do you lose all Facebook tabs?
No, because it said Facebook and Instagram. That was.
Are they
Option.
both together?
They're owned by Facebook, so.
I mean,
If you just-
Oh,
I
do you
just
mean Facebook as in
I just
as in
mean
Facebook?
Facebook as a social media platform.
Yeah, probably Facebook.
You drop Facebook. Ah, fair enough. Test match cricket or 2020?
I'm a
Test
Paul
match.
answer. I'm a 2020.
Are you 2020? You're a test match?
Test match, please. Proper cricket.
Ooh.
What are you?
I love a 2020.
Okay, fair
I
enough.
do enjoy it. Title case or sentence case?
Sentence case.
Sentence case.
Sentence case.
You were sentence case as well, weren't you? No, did you say sentence
Did I?
case?
I didn't remember if I answered this.
I
or
thought you
not.
said title case.
Doesn't
John, we'll
matter.
have to replay the video. Title case or sentence case?
Title case.
Paint a picture or write an essay?
Paint a picture.
You'd rather paint a picture? You'd rather...
I mean, I'm a designer and a content writer, so. it doesn't
Oh,
really-
you can do it either,
Yeah.
yeah. I forgot
One
about
hand with one. hand
Sorry,
with the other.
sorry, rather. Yeah. Coke or Pepsi?
Fanta.
Okay.
Curveball. Tastes the same, really. I don't.
Do they?
I'm not that bothered.
I can taste the difference, mate.
Can
Can you?
Yeah.
You probably drink a lot of it, that's why. If I had to pick one, I'd say Coke, I guess. Coke Zero.
Mine's depending on the situation, I think, yeah. Chicken or lamb karai?
Chicken.
Lamb.
Lamb karai. Okay, because you said lamb last time, I said
Yeah.
lamb too, but you prefer chicken, yeah?
Yeah, just lighter.
It's a preference.
I just feel.
Yeah.
I'm not a big red meat guy.
No, yeah, but it's also, that flexible option that you can have it chicken or lamb.
Keeping it real.
Yeah.
The peasant's option.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how creative are you?
6.
You've gone really low there. I'd
Right
say-
now, 6.
Right now, 6. In between us.
I mean, I said 7, so he's the lowest at the minute.
I think you're being a bit too modest.
If you ask me
today.
at 5 a.m, 9.
Oh, that's when you're at your optimum. I would agree.
Paul's been up for about 4
my
hours by
optimum.
then.
What's that?
Paul's been up for about 4 hours by then, that's why.
Yeah, I get that. My optimum happens late in the evening.
I think I'm getting up when you go to bed.
That's about right. Yeah. Anyway, Netflix or YouTube?
Netflix.
Okay. Netflix or YouTube?
Netflix, yeah.
Yeah. iOS
No
or
ads.
what's that?
No ads.
No ads in it. Yeah.
And I'm not paying for YouTube.
Oh, I pay for YouTube.
Yeah.
I get no ads.
Yeah.
How much people just illegally download it?
Well, this is one of my quotes actually, Raza. Raza, you said instead of purchasing a book you like the look of, you will look for a free version online. You could say that is literally taking the food out of your fellow creatives' children's mouths. That's another way of saying what you just said. How does that make you feel?
I mean, when you put it like that, not great. But I think I meant it
Next
again.
question.
Next
I
question.
meant it during my uni days. The uni books are expensive. If they say uni,
They've got libraries at some unis now.
and I think I went to my library like 4 times. But when they said, "Oh, this book's about 80 quid," everyone went online for see there's a free PDF. Let's not lie. Everybody did that.
Wow.
No,
Well, what do you spend your student loan on? That's what your student loan's for. Books.
other
Okay.
important
Well,
stuff,
next time
yeah.
a client asks for some work off us, we'll say, "Don't worry, go online and get it for free."
Don't
Okay,
make
next
me feel
question.
guilty. about it.
Paul, what's your favourite thing about working at Digital 22?
Winding Raza up.
His favourite
The
pastime.
people, innit?
Yeah.
The people,
People
always.
like Raza, people like yourself. You know?
Well, no. My favourite thing about working Digital 22 is not myself, Bilal. It's you
No,
guys.
Yeah. It is the people. That's a good question. That's a good answer, even. I wanted to do a settle debate, but
Okay.
you guys hadn't given me anything to say.
Teamwork,
We
teamwork.
get on
Winner,
so well.
Yeah.
We don't disagree on anything.
Well, I'll give you just an open debate that you guys can talk about quickly, and that's something I picked up was footballers should earn less money.
Yeah.
Go.
Go. You said yeah, just then.
Yeah.
Yeah, straight away.
Should straight up they should earn less.
Earn
money.
less money.
It's not their fault, but they should. It's the fault of
The
TV
system.
rights and all that stuff. Yeah, like they can ask for more, but should they earn less? Yeah.
Okay.
They kick a ball and doctors save lives, but yeah, they entertain me doing it. Whereas
They're not
surgery,
saving lives
yeah.
as well. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That's,
so I
that's
get
what
it, but if you
Earn less than they do, yes.
Yeah.
But should this? It's such a niche skill and such a
It's
talent
talent-based thing.
and a short-lived career that you should earn a bit more than, say, a marketer.
yeah, 100%. But yeah,
You can be a marketer till
yeah,
60.
100%. But again, like compared to some jobs, it's should they be getting
Yeah,
that
I
much?
agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. Any other business or anything else that you want to discuss?
I was going to
or-
thank Paul for making us friends again.
You're very
The
welcome.
last few
I
weeks have been
didn't
a
realise
bit.
we were
Oh,
losing
awkward.
it. Anyway, okay, we'll talk about this after the show. Paul, you have any plugs for your podcast that you want to?
Yeah, just check them all out. Video
Check 'em all
first is
out.
mine and John's.
Yeah.
But I'm angling for a guest on explicit content if that's ever up for grabs.
You're ready here.
We can make it happen.
Definitely.
I've not swore for 30 minutes.
Yeah, 100%. That explicit content is the place to let it all out.
I'm sorry, I mean, you were more than welcome to say a few F words or we'd have beeped it out, wouldn't we have, John?
It made his life hard. Yeah.
Yeah, well.
Nice one. Thanks for having us, and I'm glad you've built some bridges and retracted some
Oh.
brutal comments.
I need to be careful. People are keeping receipts and nowadays, like everything that's said. It's fine. It's good. I enjoyed it. I think I'm glad we came to a conclusion that we all need each other. As cheesy as that sounds.
Thanks to both Paul and Raza for joining. And thus ends our round 2 of Design versus Content. Thanks to both our guests again, and thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed this, stay tuned for next time. Until then, see you soon.